What is up? What is up? We're back for episode 15 of The Algorithm. I'm David Verjano, and I'm here with JC Perez. We're the partners at Cultura Creative. Super stoked to be back. We had to push this a few times because we had, travel and other major events happening that one of them we're gonna dive into today. But as we get started with every episode, JC, what's been lighting up your feed lately?
Again, a lot of the BS that you send me, and then you just fuck up my algorithm. But no, honestly, it's been a bunch of old like comedy because of the Alvarez Guedes. Just a lot of like Latin stuff. I've been getting a lot of Buena Vista Social Club, and I guess I'm trapped in that old school Cuban
Humor,
art, music, humor. Algorithm. So that's really been what's been lighting up my feed. And then, like always, just tech and AI, and I've honestly tried to stay off of outside of. I know we're talking about specifically like Instagram feed, but I've tried to stay off of X the last couple of weeks just because we've had so much work, and I get in there and it's a black hole. But I got on today and I was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm out. Completely out because there's just 1,000 things going on. So, but yeah, that's what's been lighting up my feed, man.
Yeah, surprisingly, what I didn't see on my feed was more of like AI advancements or updates. It felt like for the first, week or two that it's been like a little bit more stable or, not as more quiet than usual instead of like release here, release that. I'm sure there's, upgrades and little things going on, but I felt like there was nothing that stood out from the AI standpoint. In terms of things that I've been seeing on my feed, I've been actually hitting a lot of Batman the Animated Series, like Art Deco inspiration. That's something like
Braden got into that show for a while.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
It's a classic. It was like almost like in the ether because I had been looking up stuff a while back, and then Adrian Lorenzo, he hit me up with some stuff that he's working on that he's like, I want to be inspired by this stuff. Insurance ads. Plenty of insurance ads.
That's hilarious.
And so those were just some of the things that definitely been I ran.
Yeah.
Kind of hard yeah, it's like the stalemate, right? The straight forward moves. I saw one, it was one of meme that was just
yes, cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers with we got some. We're not sponsored, but we got.
We are not sponsored yet, by the way. Definitely an opening for a sponsorship.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much one of the most things that stood out to me that I've been getting hit on my feed, as well as like other creative campaigns and other like cool stuff happening in the space. But we'll get started here with the rundown. Kind of going through the main 4 topics we'll be going through today. One being, dope creative campaigns that we come across, both in the U.S. and other parts of the world. Number 2 being a big one for us, reviving a Latin legend and the immersive theater project that we've been working on over the past several months, honestly. Then we're going to switch it up and throw in a little trivia segment here. We're going to put JC on the hot seat, and he has to see how many of these he can answer. And then we'll wrap it up with this concept of the evolution of social and where it stands today. So without further ado, we'll kick it off here with a pretty fun one that's actually from New Zealand. McDonald's New Zealand had this idea called the McMullet. And they kind of they were just kind of like putting their product in unique ways, right? Like kind of letting the cheese hang off the edge. And what they did is that you would get a free haircut, a free mullet haircut if you came in and ordered one of these. So
that's hilarious.
It's in New Zealand. I mean, I feel like this would work in the US as well, but I'm assuming that this is something that's taking off more prominently or more recently in New Zealand. So it's kind of like a trendy thing to do. And I love, the burger in the front, party in the back. Little motif showing one of the customers here that went and got the haircut for the product launch. So again, I think it's a cute little activation that's super low pool when you think about it. Like they didn't change anything with the product. They added an extra slice of cheese, or they got the existing slice and hung it off the edge. And then the creative is so simple, but it it definitely stands out. These are the kinds of things that I feel like, is really where creativity stands out. That you're able to leverage something that's already exists, have those constraints, and then be able to kind of pull off this kind of little move that gets people to talk about it. Any thoughts here? What are your first takeaways when you see this kind of stuff?
You said it, it's a low pull, and I think McDonald's does a really good job of this. We've talked about it ad nauseum lately, or the last year that we've been doing Algorithm, with all the kind of spots that they do. They did the one with the Grinch during Christmas, and I think before that they had one for Halloween. I forgot exactly what it was, but obviously those are bigger ticketed items. Those are bigger budgets. And those are like massive kind of marketing sweeps. But these little kind of like mini, low budget, low pull activations and spoofs, really, because that's what it is. It's a funny spoof. I love them. I love the creativity. It's so simple. You say low pull, but it's so simple with the little cheese kind of hanging out. But the virality, right, and the shareability of this, I can see. If this was done in the U.S., I could see myself like sending this, to my friends and whatnot, and that, obviously that's the point. So well done. And again, just oddly, McDonald's is just really good at this. They really are. Like, yeah. I don't know if it's because, like I've said this, I don't know if it's because I have a 5-year-old and I'm just more in tune with McDonald's now than I have been in the last maybe before Braden was here. But they just seem to have their pulse on these type of things, no matter where they're at. This is in New Zealand, it's not the US, but no matter where they're at, like marketing wise, McDonald's does a really good job.
Yeah. And the takeaway here is really about the fact that you don't need this massive budget to be able to pull this off. It's really about knowing an insight about your community, even if it's something niche. And then just having that kind of like commitment to whatever it is. Like it's still something you have to commit to. It's not something you can half-ass. So that's like something that any business could take away. And then the question here is like, what version of this campaign can only your brand pull off? What is it that you can do in your specific market that's true to your brand, as well as like true to your specific market, your industry? So those are the kind of questions that you can ask yourself when you're looking at these kind of campaigns. And there's so many industries that aren't even like in food and beverage that it's inherently social. I feel like if you're in a service industry and something that's considered more of a boring business, you could really take a leap and do these kinds of things and immediately stand out from the very boring blue B2B style stuff that just, bores you to death. People just posting flyers and not really having anything that is unique to their brand. So again, take a cue from McDonald's here and, let your mullet hang out, do something with your brand. And
unfortunately, you probably can't do this in the US because somebody would get offended, but well done, New Zealand.
No, I actually think it would work in the US just because the mullet thing has made a comeback. Like in the past,
good point.
You got Theo Vaughn, you got other guys that are kind of like rocking the mullet. And I think that there's a small market for it. Second one here is shout out to LinkedIn. And Fernando Mendoza, Miami native, they kind of tapped into him as they got drafted him into the NFL, and they made this little spot because he's actually been someone that's actively been on LinkedIn. So we'll play this little video here that LinkedIn kind of put together.
Hey, Fernando.
Hi, how are you doing?
Really good. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
We're here with Fernando Mendoza. You just got the call. Tell me what it feels like to be officially drafted.
It is such a blessing. And, sorry, 1 second. I need to post on LinkedIn. Boom, posted. Now it's official. Let's go, baby. Anyways, to answer your question, it feels.
So it's a little, I think the execution is a little cheesy, but I think that like tapping into him and actually like there was more follow-up than this. This was just a video they did. There was like some out-of-home stuff, I believe. But, the chief brand officer came out and was like, Fernando has been intentional about his presence on LinkedIn from the start, sharing his journey, building his brand and connecting with his community. with this series of spots, we wanted to show that LinkedIn is about those big professional moments like getting a new job, but is also where careers take shape over time. And yeah, they felt that Fernando was a perfect fit for that. And yeah, he was, even throughout his journey from high school through college, he actively would update his LinkedIn page. You could go on there, and he's notorious for having like a thorough explanation for the stuff that he's done. And then I love like the concept of like, open to work to now like removing that and being hired obviously by the Las Vegas Raiders now. Again, I think this is a good way to leverage someone that's existing in your community, especially when such a massive name that becomes a number 1 overall pick. But that's kind of like the storyline here. JC, do you have any thoughts on the collaboration?
I do. It's so on brand too for LinkedIn. Like, he's such a LinkedIn dude. Outside of him posting and stuff like that, just like he represents. He represents and is going to represent LinkedIn in the best way possible. It gets them out of that like very narrow kind of B2B demographic that they naturally have, right? And although obviously the purpose is B2B and the purpose is like showcasing that, but it gets them. It gets the athlete. It gets the kind of outside of their LinkedIn circle, if you will, kind of eyeballs on the brand, and then he's just the perfect representative for LinkedIn. Like, he's an athlete, but he's just oddly like very corporate in his way. Like, he's very structured and about his business. Yeah, he literally is the perfect athlete for LinkedIn. They couldn't have picked a better athlete, and I love him. I love his story. I love everything about him outside of the fact that he beat the Canes in the national championship. But he proved to me that night that he's just a stud, and I wish him the best. And I think that, this is an amazing collaboration. We got Snoop Dogg too. That's definitely not on brand at all for LinkedIn.
They're becoming multifaceted now. They're taking multiple angles.
But yeah, if I think LinkedIn and I think like brand collaboration with somebody with a content creator or an athlete or whatever the case may be, this is definitely like the prototype. His picture's there for sure. Love it.
Yeah, and then again, the takeaway here is that even if you're a small business, sometimes people think like, oh, I got to get a celebrity or a spokesperson or someone to like put my name out there. But sometimes it's your very customers. It's the people that use your service, that buy your product, whatever it is, that could be the most impactful, the most genuine, and like, the best spokesperson for you to speak on your brand's behalf. So sometimes that becomes the thing that you should be considering. And before you go out trying to like cast or save up money to hire, an influencer, like sometimes it's a matter of like, hey, let's look internally. Let's see what we have, who's said what, and be able to build around that. And I think that's, especially if you're a local business, like someone from your market, someone from your community, that's probably more impactful.
Agreed. We always talk about it too. You start talking about like the micro influencers and the people that are really have the impact in people getting to your small business or seeing your small business. And a lot of the times it's not the influencer with 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million. It is that micro influencer with 10,000 or 15,000 or even smaller, honestly, or even just your own customers. Sometimes posting about it and they become a little bit cultish about your brand, and that's what you want. At the end of the day, they're talking about it, they're in there. So yeah, very on brand, and kudos to LinkedIn, man.
Yeah, Carlos has some thoughts here. He points out that obviously having the business owner themselves speak out is usually a good choice as well, and it adds another layer. I think it's like, yes, you represent the business, and then someone else that represents the customer, and then you could have someone that represents media or an influencer or creator. I think like having all three angles is probably like the most thorough approach. Some people can do it. Some people don't have a founder or an owner that's good on camera, and they can't really do that part, and vice versa. There's a bunch of stuff. And you also, obviously humanizing it, right?
Yeah.
Just bringing out people that are truly customers, bringing out people that are part of your community is going to be more impactful than just like, oh, I hired Kylie Jenner to promote my brand. And there's been stories. Yeah, there's been stories of brands that have hired, these top level celebs, but they're not even in the same kind of category. They just thought, I'm getting a name, and the cost to the return was not worth it, because it's like, yeah, sorry, you got Kylie Jenner to promote your tires or something. Like, people aren't going to go buy her tires because they saw her. Like her followers don't care about that kind of thing. So you got to have that pairing.
And humanizing your business does not mean that specifically the owner needs to be that person, because a lot of times, like it's either the person behind the, like right next to the owner, or somebody that's on staff that's the one that's kind of running ship, is probably the best one to be highlighting or on camera or whatever the case may be, talking about that story. So I think we've gotten also caught up in a web in the last like 5 years where we went the whole other way, where like now every CEO, every McDonald's eating the burger, every CEO, every manager, every owner of a business is trying to get on camera. Sometimes it's not that, but it's about humanizing the business itself, and sometimes that's not just with the owner, that is with the team itself, the people, the engine behind what goes on a day-to-day basis. So, and we see that like with Event Factor, like obviously Mike's a great owner and he's the one that runs that ship there, but like there's a lot of people behind Mike that help that business move forward and are there on the day-to-day. And we were actually talking about it today, about that, is like getting people on camera that are in the sales division and the people that really help run that ship. So I wanted to point that out.
For sure. Yeah. And then moving on to the next one is actually Claire's, which is like a flashback to kind of our childhood, even though I didn't go, but I have a younger sister. And I think that
I got a piercing there, by the way.
Yeah. So you do have an actual relationship with the brand there, but they're looking at Gen Alpha, not even Gen Z. They're looking at Gen Alpha now. And like they're entering this new chapter that's focused around, like, they use this ASMR kind of thing, and then they're building like a content studio inside of the stores to kind of activate this. So we'll play this little video just to show like the way that they're going about promoting this.
2, 1.
The thing that kills me, bro.
Yeah. So
that's just wild.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And so, yeah, it's a multi-channel campaign, obviously aimed at Gen Alpha, and it's focused on like sensory stimulating experiences. And then the big thing here is that the campaign features in-store recording stations where they can record and create their own things, like using texture, sounds, and sensations. So they're not really going and saying like, oh, this is just for TikTok or this is just for this thing. Like, they know that they're posting somewhere, whether it's TikTok, whether it's on Snapchat, on YouTube. They're recording these videos and sending it to their friends directly. And so it's activating, kind of retail in a different way. The nail thing is it's like the thing right now. So
you see all the food influencers do that.
There's like these hand motions. It's that and all the other.
What are you doing, man?
It's too much, man.
It's ridiculous.
It's also the way that they kind of but yeah, so the takeaway here is that it's about meeting your audience at whatever their content format is, rather than just the platform. So like, this is published on YouTube, it's published on all the other platforms, and it didn't just focus on these things. It's focused on how do we activate our stores and do the in-person experience that helps bridge that gap, that they're going to be in the store, but they're also going to be on their phones, and they're also going to be recording something. And like, I think that it's an interesting way of kind of bridging that gap. I don't know how effective it's going to be, but I think it's a worthy attempt for them to kind of like do this.
Yeah, you've seen some gyms actually pop up. They're I don't know what the exact word is, but it's like content gyms essentially, where they have like the camera set up. They've got the whole setup for you to be able to record your workout and whatnot. So yeah, that's going to be the shift for Gen Alpha, the new generation coming through. So yeah, the whole nail thing kills me. Again, you see all the food bloggers, they do that, and but it's just that next evolution of how we take things in on a digital scale, and yeah, good for. I think Claire's has done a great job. I think Sephora as well does a really good job as to like keeping up with the times and making sure they're always on top of what is the new trend on digital and being ahead of the curve, really. And I think Claire's, I think traditionally didn't do that, and in the last like year, 2 years, they've done a really good job of starting to be ahead of the curve on that. So I hope it goes well for them. Yeah, Claire's is an old brand, man. They're one of like the OGs.
For sure. No, and I think the only thing that's probably brushing up against this is that I've been hearing more and more that Gen Alpha and even like the youngest Gen Z are starting to switch or prefer more analog devices. So like, think of Polaroid cameras and point and shoot cameras versus like, and even having like not having a smartphone. So like things like that kind of counters this movement of like, oh, this is going to be recorded on your phone and published immediately, like the digital native side of things. I still think that there's obviously kids that prefer this, but I think that this is like the first generation where you're going to start seeing like a split, or it's not like a monolithic thing where all of them are just going to be on their phones and all of them just use the same kind of things or on the same platform. So it's going to be
physical activations too. Like physical brand activations, things that you can touch, things that you can feel. Like that generation, from what I've read, is really leaning into that physical brand activation because everything is digital for them. We grew up we grew up in a very physical, but then we got into a more hybrid approach with digital and analog. But now, yeah, I think they're kind of reaching for the other side.
Yep. All right, and then we had one more here from IKEA Sweden. They had this out-of-home campaign promoting their big bag, the FRAKTA bag, and they called it Point of You. So this campaign kind of like captures everyday life, kind of from the view of inside of one of these big blue bags. And it's obviously a highly recognized object. Like at some point you've either had one or someone that has had one and took it to your house or to an event, pulled up to some sort of party with it,
or had multiple.
Yeah, or multiple ones. So I think it's really smart for them to kind of use this as a frame. Almost works as like, instead of having a brand element, you're using the product as the branding, and just creating a frame of your own that you own, which is really interesting. And it activated in a bunch of different ways, like carry-on bag, and then you see the jet, the plane in the sky. You see a picnic bag, and then you see like a pigeon peeking in. And then you have like laundry bag, and you see a little clothesline with the sock. So it has legs. It's something that like the frame is there, and then now you fill it in with, and also just saying like it's a bag, but then you're framing it as the carry-on bag, the picnic bag, or the laundry bag. It's such a way to show that versatility, and again, using that frame as the consistent, cohesive element to kind of draw it forward.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think it was really well done.
Very creative.
Something here to kind of call out is that IKEA's been compounding the equity on this for a while. This isn't something that they just rolled out the bag and then they're using the bag, because like people, you could still see the IKEA tag on the handles, but I don't think it has as much impact if it wasn't been around for a while and they hadn't been activating it already. So like they've done things with memes, with experiential retail, AR, all these other things. And so by the time that they launched this campaign, it already had recognition enough that the concept had weight and it carried it. And so again, the takeaway here is that that's what long game of brand building is for. This is why you do these things and don't just one off it and move on to the next thing. Just because something's working and then you're like, cool, it's working, let's try something else. Like don't forget about that thing that worked. Bring it back at some point. Do other things to compound on that recall, on that follow through. And I think that that's something that any brand should take into consideration. Saying something once is not enough. Showing something once is not enough. You have to make sure that you do it consistently. And we have so much being thrown at us on a daily basis on our feeds and the media we consume that you do need things. Repetition it matters. You can't just see something once and then you don't have that benefit of being remembered in today's landscape because you saw something once.
And like you said, repetition, but also repetition in different ways, right? Showing different creative, showing different formats of even the same type of, the same bag, but you're showing it in different ways. So I think that's important as well, especially with the landscape that we have, both in organic and paid. We were just talking about that today. It's like, how do you get the same creative and showcase it, 5, 6, 7 different ways for different audiences? And that's fortunately or unfortunately, that's the landscape that we're in right now with digital. So yeah, kudos to IKEA. They've done a great job of building their brand.
Sure.
And they're great.
And then moving on to the next one here, we have Dropbox did a collaboration with Fred again. Probably one of the most famous DJs right now. And this idea was that a lot of his concerts, and more recently, I guess this tour, they weren't allowing phones, or they were like encouraging people not to take, photos, videos, all that stuff, to like be present. And so the idea here is like at the end of the show, you'll get all these assets that we shot, that the creative team created. And like, that includes a ton of different things. I'm going to show you some.
That's so cool.
The big thing here is that it builds the phone-free show policy, so they don't have it, and then that's why you'll get these things afterwards. So you'll see things like stylized photos, photos of the people at the event, right? And these are just some of them that are in this Dropbox link that you can go and take a look at. The posters from the different places, Dublin and Madrid and Mexico City. And then they give you all the assets, and you can go and take it and edit it and do your own kind of take on it. So I think it's like leaning into people who are designers and creatives natively and giving them kind of the assets to play with. And just like, there's so many cool things that are on there. Like you come here to this Dropbox and they have it broken down with all these different things. You have show photos that you get to see, from where it was. You went to Madrid? Cool. We went to the Madrid show, and there's, photos here from this event, right?
That's really cool.
And it's behind the scenes stuff too. I believe that there was even this ambient thing. It was showing kind of like, you saw that the kind of little drapery that they showed, just showing this stuff. This doesn't get all posted on the Instagram and where you usually get it. So you are getting access to some of these assets that, for the most part, you would have to dig really deep to find, or you wouldn't get access to at all. So I think that was a really cool way to activate, their fans and do that collaboration with Dropbox. Obviously, you could have done it with you could have done it with box.com. You could have done it with, I think air.com is also another one, but like Dropbox did the smart move, tap into someone that's very relevant in the music scene. And, so in that Dropbox, you have the flag design, the show posters, vinyl artwork, all the release artworks, even unseen, unused stuff. And yeah, visual stems. You have audio clips from there too that you can get and edit and mess around with too. So it's putting it in the hands of the fans and the creatives to kind of take it as like a little bit of a gift for attending the show and being phone free. So what are your thoughts on this?
Thoughts are that I really do love the algorithm of what we do, because every other weekend or every other week I find out about something new. I had no clue who this person Fred was or his music, but I will dig in now. I really don't, but I'm very aware of who Dropbox is and what they do. We run our entire business through Dropbox. All of our content, all of our clients have their content and everything that we produce for them on Dropbox. We've actually moved a lot of our clients to Dropbox because of how we use it and the potency that it has. I love Dropbox. I don't follow them on any of the socials but I am going to start now because I see that they're doing some creative shit, and I love that. But as far as a business is concerned and a product, Dropbox is amazing. They really are, man. It's so easy to use. Every other week, they're coming out with a new tech or a new update that just makes your life easier. They have the DocuSign thing now, which is amazing. I think they've had it for a couple of years, but it just makes life easier. So kudos to Dropbox. I'm going to start following them now on social that I don't. And kudos to this individual, Fred, that apparently makes good music. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, Fred again is it's been pretty big for a handful of years now.
And I love this, by the way. Sorry. I love this. Like the whole no phone thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're tapping into that to make sure that people are present, but also just in a funny way, promoting your tech and promoting tech in general and promoting, the advances that we have. But to me, the ability for people to have access to that high-end content that is created throughout the show, and not water that down with, the kind of the raw stuff that people are naturally going to be taking during a show. And then that's what's circulating. And that's as an artist, that's what's circulating around. And people are reposting the really cool shit that you created as a creative team, but on their own handles or whatever the case may be. That's really cool. That's kind of like the other way around, right? So very cool dynamic here. I like it.
For sure. And that kind of wraps up the creative campaign segment. And so now we'll switch gears to something that's been in our wheelhouse, and we've been head down pretty much working on this project for several months. And as of last month, it launched. It's been one weekend of being live. Today is Thursday, so today is like the opening of weekend number 2. And it is Muerto de Risa, el último show de Alvarez Guedes. For those of you that don't know him, he is a late Cuban comedian, and he was way more than that, honestly. His background started in acting. He got into the music business and put some amazing artists on the map with his label Hema Records, including Willie Chirino, giving a Gran Combo their name, and so many others along the way. But he's most known for his comedy, and he's been at it. He was at it for a long time, and we have the honor to kind of create this immersive theater project, which we're calling a comedic cabaret. It has elements of stand-up comedy, live music, dancing, almost like a Vegas style cabaret show. And this was a collaboration between Loud and Live Entertainment and our company, Cultura Media House. And it was really an honor to be tapped to do this. Our involvement specifically, we have members of our team that have scripted the entire show and are co-directing it. We've had the benefit of coming up with the brand identity, the entire visual language that you're seeing here, and on any assets that have gone on both digital and print. The creative execution of those assets. So we've created them ourselves, and in partnership with Loud and Live to have them kind of publish it and send it out to the appropriate channels. And then we've also been managing the paid media side on the digital front, Meta, Google, TikTok. And our team was really primed. It kind of activated all layers of our company and our team to put this together. And so it's been fun, and it's kind of like a showcase of everything that's gone into it. Everything from the photography of these silhouettes of the actor playing Alvarez Guedes that Jesse.
Shout out Jesse.
Shout out to Jesse.
Wizard.
Amazing. And there was all these other silhouettes that were more like in action, and then there was these that we thought of to do as a countdown. So like 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the one being a middle finger, because that was kind of his humor. He would tamper with the idea of like being in your face and saying a bad word, but without being too vulgar. He found a way to kind of add an elegance to that style. So these are just kind of snapshots of the brand identity, the logo, the word mark of the actual show title, some of the elements we used, like his heads, the little illustrated heads that we kind of use in a bunch of different ways. The ño, which he's famous for coining as like a term coño is such a prominent term in Hispanic culture, and he kind of like was the one that put ño on the map. And so we definitely had to create some assets that leaned into that because people know him for that. And yeah, just seeing things like, you know, what typography we use, and then actually putting it into action in things like the primary poster, right? So you get to see here pretty much what it looks like at a glance. You can tell, you know, who it's about, especially if you're from this era and you grew up watching him, and just kind of like leaning into this, like, no, there's like a grandiose element to the show. It is something that we activated in a unique way at Tropical Park, putting together massive tents and then kind of like building out inside an experience that has like elements of like the 70s and the 80s, and just nostalgia packed in there, as well as like a stage where you sit in tables around and are able to kind of experience this in different elements. So I also want to shout out our team here for the video that was put together. This was like shortly after the first opening night that we compiled these this kind of footage.
So good. It really does.
Yeah, shout out to Jesse for some of those, you know, putting that together so fast too. And even, you know, shout out to Nick Vega, who came through on the photography front, handed us some amazing photos that we then were able to turn into these kind of like
and shout out to you. And shout out to you, and shout out to Zaya for being able to do this type of shit with the photos that they get. So yes, absolutely, Vega. But you guys are magicians, man, to be able to turn this around like this. Amazing.
Yeah, it was, you know, when you get handed kind of this level, this quality of like photography, it makes it so much easier. And then you just kind of lock into, all right, what's the composition? How do I throw in some brand elements and maybe like, you know, a message here or there? I think this one is by far my favorite, kind of compositing these three images, him on stage, the side profile, the back profile, and then the title at the top. You know, I think it's a way to kind of show a lot without saying too much other than the name of the show. And this one's done really well for us in terms of when we posted it. Also, you know, having actors like Ruben Rabasa, who's been around for so long.
Shout out, amazing.
He's a character in himself. And his part of the show is so hilarious. And I think that, like, you know, layering in this messaging works really well. And I think that it's a mix of so many things. Shout out to Randy here with like the intensity that he comes on stage with. And also us being able to play with the idea of Spanish and Spanglish as like a true thing, because even though a majority of his comedies in Spanish, he did an entire show that was in English, and so he kind of was that gap between English speaking and Spanish speaking audiences too, showing people like how do you use the word come mierda, how to use the word coño, all these kinds of things. It's part of his history, his legacy. So, and we've gotten some good reviews too. People like Enrique Santos have gone to the show. You have Emilio Estefan, people from the Herald have been, you know, leaving reviews. And so that kind of arms us with this kind of stuff that we can now showcase what people are saying. We don't even have to fabricate this stuff. It's truly like what's out on the street and in the ether at this point. So that's always like a fun thing to have a great team. And shout out to Roby Ramos and Hector Medina for scripting and writing this entire thing. And, you know, it's nothing without them. Essentially, like the show holds water. The show itself speaks for itself. This is just kind of just amplifying what you would get to experience at the ground level. So that's kind of an overview. I know that JC, maybe you want to touch on some of the stuff that we've done from the paid media side, from the behind the scenes side, that people can look forward to.
Yeah. So first and foremost, this has been a project. When you're in this industry and when you do what we do, not every day are we able to get projects like this that like hit at the core of who we are as individuals. And I don't think there's anybody that represents our culture and who we are on a daily basis more than Alvarez. Just his humor. I mean, the whole show talks about it, right? Like just how we are as Cubans, how we make fun of each other, like how we're just everything's a humor to us, like the bad words, the struggles, the like Dan Le Batard says, the borrowed pain that we have from listening to our grandparents talk about what they went through, and the whole exile story, and just so many layers, man. And it's so cool to be able to be in this project and right, point, period. That's it. It's really cool to be a part of this project. It's even cooler to be a part of this project from the ground up and to be there, literally ideating from day one as to what the cabaret is going to look like. Not ideating, like creating, I guess ideating, but creating what the cabaret is going to look like, what the bar is going to look like, what the patio is going to look like, el patio is going to look like. What is the experience that the people are going to feel when they're in that said bar, cabaret, and patio. So this whole experience has been incredible. We shout out to our entire team, our entire creative team. We're uniquely positioned to be able to tackle this just off of the heels of The Walls Have Ears, and tackling something very similar, not to this extent, but very similar. We're uniquely positioned as an agency, as a company, as a media company, to be able to tackle this. Shout out to Loud and Live for what they put together, the tents and all of that. Super fucking cool. It's incredible what we built in the middle of fucking tropical park, Westchester, if you will. So really cool, and I think uniquely positioned as well as a company like Loud and Live to be able to put on something like this. Only they can, only we can type deal. It's been a great collaboration. And I think, as far as the paid media, you were talking about the content and the assets that we've been getting. You were talking about the digital and kind of what we're doing. It's been incredible in the sense of we went into this kind of knowing how this was going to play out, right? We kind of went into this understanding that this is different. Immersive experiences in Miami, specifically in Miami, are different. You're competing with 1,472 things that are going down every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night in Miami. It's Miami. It's a global city. There's millions of things going on a daily basis. So you're competing with that. You're also competing with just the Miami culture of show me it's good. I want to hear that it's good. I want to see people that I know go to this event and say that it's good. It's layered, man. Putting an event on in Miami is not easy, especially a new event that nobody fucking knows about. And outside of the fact that, Alvarez is obviously very known in our culture, Miami's a different cat. Miami's a completely different box when it comes to these type of events. So understanding that going into this with a very thought out, very understood, and very strategic paid media campaign, organic campaign too, by the way, because I do want to say and shout out to Javi and Janie, which have been kind of like our point people on the Loud and Live side when it comes to social, etc. Shout out to them because they've had great ideas. We've been really collaborative with them, and the organic has taken off. We had a great awareness campaign in a very short stint. Again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that Alvarez is just a fucking king, but and his comedy is just amazing. But shout out to them, to, you know, in collaboration with us on the creative side, to be able to put such a robust awareness campaign together that really has translated into ads, and to our digital strategy that has also been incredible and taken off. And again, we talk about that layering of, you know, pre-show, first week, post first week, right? Like once you start to get the reviews, once you're able to start putting these things, you know, getting this content and putting these things on, like the Santos, like the Estefans, like all of these comments that we're able to now, the Miami Herald, showcase on the content that we're putting out there. These things are layered, and I think as a team, it has been incredible to see all of you guys cook and activate and do what you do at a very high level. It's also been incredible, like I said, to see the physical aspect of this and being able to put these, really no other way of saying it, dog, like Circus du Soleil style tents in the middle of Tropical Park. And we built a cabaret in the middle of Tropical Park that you get lost. Jesse said it earlier, it's like a dream in there, that you get lost in you're not in a park anymore. You're in a cabaret in the 70s and 80s in Miami. And we really transport you. The team really transport you. So, you know, it goes without saying that kudos to Roby, kudos to Hector, kudos to Ariel. Jesus Christ, what a absolute, just phenomenal performance he puts on. Kudos to Nelson and Loud and Live, and just, man, the Cultura team. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of all of us. We've done such a great job, and we'll continue. This is going to continue. The word of mouth is getting out there. People know that it's a great show, and that's the thing, right? It's not just great marketing. It's not just great. It's not just a tent in Tropical Park. It's not just we're transporting you. The show's fucking good. Like, really, really, really good. I went to every single show the first week. Every day got better. Every day gave me more goosebumps. I told my dad. My dad went on Friday with us. So it was me, my sister, my dad, my stepmom, her mom, which, like, my bonus grandmother, and you get goosebumps, man. I felt like my grandfather was there. My grandfather's not with us anymore. I felt like my grandparents were there with me, because these are the stories that you heard about 70s and 80s in Miami and cabaret, La Fiolines. Like, these are the things that you heard. And for this team to be able to put this together and make it happen, and a true immersive comedic cabaret, like a true taking you back. This is nostalgia at an all-time high. Just incredible, man. I can't be prouder of the entire team and staff and everybody that's put this shit together. And just, yeah, man, it's amazing. And Alvarez Guedes, I don't want this to get lost either. Alvarez Guedes let this happen. He was the reason this happens, right? He is the reason. He is the main reason why this happens. Such a fucking pioneer, man, in the way that he broke barriers, the way that he pushed our culture forward, and the way that he pushed Hispanic culture forward. Because if you listen to Puerto Ricans talk about what it is, man, they fucking love him. He had a residency over there. You listen to a lot of Latin America, they love him. New York, California, they love him. He truly broke a lot of barriers. So kudos to Alvarez Guedes, kudos to Ariel, kudos to Roby and Hector, Loud and Live team, and then obviously Cultura, man. You guys have fucking killed it. We have killed it.
For sure. And before we wrap up here, I think what I wanted to do also is, like, a part of this stream also was the concept of behind the curtain, right? We wanted to pull behind the curtain and kind of show the work that has gone into this. We've shown you some of the branding. We've shown you some of the other stuff. But in communicating what this show is about in a novel concept of immersive theater, it's showing, like, the strategy that goes into these things. Like we don't just, when people kept on, we would read the comments and people were responding like, but what is it? Is it a show? Is it going to be streaming? What, you know, what can I expect? So we had to get creative with the way that we explain this. And so we've had, you know, carousels that kind of describe the experience, right? In his voice, pa que no me jodan más. So you guys stop bothering me. What is this experience? And we talked about the 3 pillars, right? There's going to be a bar where you hang out, you grab drinks, and then you're transported into the cabaret where you see the actual show. And after you go out into a patio where there still will be music, there'll be food, there'll be other things going on. So showing those 3 layered elements, but people still didn't know what happened in the show itself. So we're like, all right, besides that, ¿qué carajo is this show? And we would try different cover photos, things that to see which one performs. Like we A, B, C, D test to see exactly what's working, and showing things like, all right, it's in Spanish, teatro inmersivo, immersive theater. We do it English, Spanish, Spanglish, trying it all out, showing all the different elements and what you can expect in this show so that people kind of have a better idea as to like when they're buying this ticket, what are you going to see? So this is just showing you a glimpse of these kinds of things, a calls to action at the end. You already saw some of these elements, stuff that we haven't even rolled out, right? So showing some of these things, activating people like Adrian Lorenzo to, you know, come up with this little drawing on top of the mustache. Some of these are more conceptual, they haven't been finished, but you can kind of see how we're kind of leveraging the pre-show stuff, the stuff before we launched, and now post-show, how do we like say it in different ways? How do we kind of promote it? And so this is just, again, we're peeling behind the curtain here so you guys can see the work, the ideation, the stuff that we showed you in the countdown here, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, when we hit certain milestones for tickets sold, even some of the merch ideas early on that we kind of drafted, the billboards that were drafted, some of them that went up, others that haven't gone up. Again, this is, if I zoom all the way out, you guys get an idea of just one of the words they go into it, not including the branding and all the stuff that Hector Zaya has put together and other members of the team. Awesome. So that's, and I think another call out too is this account when we first started was at 16,000 followers. Since the awareness phase, and especially till now, like we've grown it to 91,000. It's going to hit 100K very soon. And that's like, obviously it speaks to Alvarez Guedes. Like it speaks to him, because if without him, people don't know about, you know, what the humor they can expect, or you can't build an entire show around this person if he doesn't exist. So that's at the core, but clearly there's been enough awareness, enough of a reception that people have started following the account. Oh, Jesse's calling out saying that it was under 8K. So I thought it was 16. So it's,
no, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was like a 7 something.
That's insane. So I thought it was like at 16K. It's gone even higher than that. But yeah, that just speaks truth to what we've put together. And yeah, we've already kind of talked at end with this, and I think that it goes without saying that our team is really proud of the work, and we're excited for the show to continue. It's even extended. It was supposed to go through the end of May, and now it's being extended into mid to late June. So
yeah, last thing I want to say is that every campaign, every marketing campaign that you put together is a little bit different, and I think that one of the biggest hurdles that we had here is how do you sell to a consumer the show that you're trying to put on without revealing the person that is playing this legend, without revealing too much information, which was what we were trying to keep, close to the vest. And, again, marketing is psychology at a very high level, right? It is trying to get into the minds of people and really switch their mind to like, hey, I don't want to purchase this, I want to purchase this, or I think I want to purchase this, I want to purchase this. And it's very difficult to do that without showing your cards, without showing exactly what this thing is. And that was something that we had to do because it was part of the strategy. Was we're not going to showcase ideas. We're not going to showcase exactly who's gonna play Alvarez Guedes. And there was this mystery, which worked well, by the way. The mystery was part of kind of the whole mystique of what is this show, like what is going on. And in my estimation, it's been why there's been this big wave, is because there was such a great awareness campaign. People were kind of like itching. They're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what's going on? So very well done, but it's also very difficult. It's very difficult to market, and at the end of the day, to sell tickets, because people are holding on. People are waiting. They're like, I don't know what this is, so I don't want to purchase a ticket. So a lot of that is psychological. And again, it goes back to kudos to the creative team, kudos to the social team, kudos to you guys that have really been able to maneuver that and built this awareness of what the show is going to be. And now you see, obviously, with the ticket selling and the success that the show is having early on, that it obviously worked, and we'll continue to press on. But kudos to you guys, and kudos to the entire team to be able to do that, because that's not an easy feat to not be able to show all your cards at once.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's been a lot to kind of manage and put together and keep under wraps while still promoting a show and selling. We sold basically 20% of the tickets before the show even started, which is rare for something that is a new concept that people don't know about, don't know where it is. Like they know it's in Miami, Tropical Park, where they don't know what to expect clearly in terms of like the content of the show. So there's so many variables there, as well as the actor who's going to play this guy. So that was just kind of like a lot of hurdles that we had to jump, and challenges that made us better. And so really proud of what we did there. But now what we're actually going to do is switch gears here, and we're going to go into trivia mode, and we're going to put JC on the hot seat. So we're going to put the intro music we have here for JC. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through a few questions. We'll give you a few seconds to answer each of them, and then we'll reveal it after each one. But we'll start off with number one. This famous 2013 Super Bowl tweet during a power outage is often cited as the case study that triggered brands' obsession with real-time marketing. What is it?
Bro, so I saw these questions today, and I took you said, don't research this, so I haven't, and I promise you I have not. I can't for the life of me figure out what the fuck this was,
No?
or is. No. So this is gonna be a fail for me on this one, because I have no clue.
You're gonna pass, or do you want to throw a random brand out there?
This famous 2013 Super Bowl tweet during a power outage is often cited as the case. So. Yeah. Triggered brands. So if it's a tweet, man, I don't know. Wendy's really good at tweeting.
Wendy's is a good one, but it's not Wendy's. This was the famous Oreo. You can still
Oreo. Look, somebody.
Yeah.
305 GN.
Yeah. You can still dunk in the dark. Tweet, which was super smart. That's
hilarious.
That was the matchup between the Ravens and the 49ers, where the Ravens ended up winning. But yeah, that's a case study in a lot of social media and in branding. Like, how do you jump into a conversation when you have
amazing?
This one's more insider ball when it comes to paid media and advertising. But this 3-letter acronym describes the percentage of conversions attributed to the last ad touch point before a purchase, a model that many performance marketers are now trying to move beyond.
Yeah, which I completely agree with, that we need to move beyond it. Last click attribution. Let's move past this, please, because it just doesn't make any sense. Let's look at other forms of telling if your campaign is successful or not. Last click attribution is the acronym. Yeah.
Before it was last touch, before it went to digital.
Yeah.
Now it's last click, because obviously it's digital. A lot of times the reason for people that don't know why it should be phased out is because you're giving all the weight to that last point and ignoring everything that led up to it. And as opposed to like blending it all together and saying like, hey, yeah, they saw this banner ad or this ad over here. They went to the website, and then, yes, that was last touch, last click, but it doesn't mean that it deserves all the credit for the entire, work that went behind it.
Yeah. And real quick, it's actually where we're talking about this today, which even though we are quote unquote a commerce focused, like we really love the digital side of things in Cultura. All of it matters, right? Like one of the biggest reasons why AG is successful right now, not just digital. We know that digital is killing it right now. We know that the ads are killing it, but the word of mouth is killing it. The fact that, there was a great influencer campaign and people in there the first week, that matters too. The fact that there's people, there's press that is talking about AG, that matters too. All of this matters. It's really a holistic approach to marketing. So although something leads, it's not necessarily just the last click that matters. It really all is in a bubble, and it all matters 100%.
For sure. Next one. This phenomenon describes a spike and then rapid decay of attention around a trend, especially visible in TikTok sounds and memes.
The hype cycle.
The hype cycle. Yeah. This is something that a lot of times, that's why we don't like chasing trends too often, because of the hype cycle. It's like, that's great, but if you're chasing all these cycles, you're going to go insane. And you're also going to be left without anything to plant your feet on as something that you stand for, other than chasing trends and chasing a hype cycle. So be aware of that whenever you see something. Like as a marketer, if you have a brand, don't just chase any single. It has to make sense for your brand and your message, and it has to align. Don't just be doing every single trend that you see, because
and unless you have a really good team that is on trend and that can pump things out very quickly and literally be part of that cycle, it really makes no sense. Like if you're just gonna pump out something 4, 5, 6 days later just because, bro, just don't do it. Just don't put the ad out there or whatever the piece of content out there. Like if you have to have a good team that's on top of the shit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 4. This running shoe brand built its identity around cloud cushioning and became a favorite in Silicon Valley before going mainstream in performance sports.
On cloud?
On running on cloud, yes. That's they blew up really, like they came out of nowhere, honestly, because it's funny how they and then now Allbirds went different directions. It's like they were both popular in Silicon Valley, but one is now an AI company that went bankrupt, and another one is a super successful performance brand.
And I was I still am a huge Hoka fan because I love my Hokas. Yeah. But On Cloud, I think, has done something unique, which is has given you that cushion, right? That cloud, if you will, that Hoka gives you. But their style is just so much better than Hoka. Hoka just, for whatever reason, some shoes are really nice. I have like the all white ones or whatever that you can kind of pair with whatever. But most of their styles are not great at all. And On Cloud, a lot of their styles are incredible. They have a really nice style. So yeah, On Cloud, I like them. They were also very popular internationally before they hit the US mainstream. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, it's definitely a brand that Nike has been struggling, and a bunch of other brands have kind of like been shuffling. So has Under Armour. So I think like you're seeing, especially in the running scene, like run clubs and all that stuff, this is like prime. All right, then we have 2 more. This office software brand's Doc but multiplayer positioning reframed documents as living apps, helping it stand out in a sea of productivity tools. So
sorry, I got a special guest here on the algorithm.
All good. I'll reframe it. So the brand's motto is pretty much Doc but multiplayer. So like documents but multiplayer.
Interesting. Positioning reframed documents as living apps, helping it stand out in a sea of productivity tools. Man, that's a tough one. This office software brand. Can you give me a clue?
You use it.
Dropbox?
I'm using it right now. You're reading it off it right now.
Oh shit, Notion. That's
So-
awesome. Yes, Notion. Oh, it's following
Notion.
Brayden.
There it goes.
It's following. There you go. Over here, bro.
We get the tracking camera. It's amazing. So yeah, I mean, Notion is obviously something that we've been, using so often, and I just thought I'd throw that in there because it was framed in a way that's not, as easy to tell, and I never thought of it as like multi.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So,
Hold up, I gotta track this shit. Hold up, give me a second.
yeah, you can fix it up.
There
You
you
can
go.
come back over here.
That's hilarious.
So.
Where's it going?
There you go. So,
All right.
last one on the slate for the trivia. This social audio app's invite-only growth and drop-in rooms briefly triggered a gold rush for live audio formats before plateauing. Do you remember what that brand was?
The social audio app, invite only growth and drop in rooms. Wow. Briefly triggered a gold rush for live audio formats before plateauing.
It was an audio app.
It's not Shazam, because Shazam didn't. They're still around too. They're
Shazam
going
doesn't
strong.
really have like that social element.
They don't have that social element.
Give you a few more.
Damn.
No longer exists.
No, I can't think of it.
Clubhouse.
Wow. Clubhouse. Jesus Christ.
Clubhouse ended up just getting like integrated into Twitter X.
Correct.
With the rooms or whatever. It was like a telltale story of an app that thinks that it has something novel, but it actually just has a feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what was another one? Like Vine. And a few others.
Vine
that
was a good one.
integrated video, and then it's like Instagram's like, okay, cool, we'll just add video to our platform. So it's like you have to have something truly that stands out in a community, than not just something that could be easily integrated as a feature in another app. But yeah, that wraps up our trivia segment.
You gotta have more music. You gotta have an end cap music here.
I do have to have the end cap music. I could replay our intro music here.
I love that. I love this.
So we got that. We'll work on that. I think that it's a fun little segment that we could keep tweaking and iterating on. But the last portion here is this concept of evolution of social.
He looks hammered there.
Yeah. So the concept here is saying that lo-fi content, episodic content is winning.
Agreed.
And it uses kind of the reference here of Portnoy's Tea by the Sea, where he just pulls up, by the water, and he just kind of has hot takes or like recaps what's going on in terms of drama on the internet. But it kind of frames these things about like how social media is, in terms of the traditional feed, it's starting to feel a little bit more like network television. You're seeing more episodic things. You're seeing like things that are not just individual pieces. I think is a little bit projecting what it's becoming as opposed to what it actually is, because I still see things that are one-off. I don't see everyone doing, episodic content. I don't think everyone has the time for that, but some brands
Or the budget.
have the budget and time to do it. So, but I do see things trending this direction, the recurring format and this and that. So like that segment, Tea by the Sea, is he's on a beach chair in Florida wearing a hat that says it, promoting, and then talking about internet drama, right? There's no production, dude. It's him with the freaking camera in front of him. You could tell he had like sunburn. He was chipping away his nose. So like it's raw, it's real. There's no makeup. So I think that's, we've said this before, the whole rawness, the realness is coming through, and people want more of that. And that's where like authenticity comes through. And that's what the point they're making here, right? It reads as real. It doesn't. The high production thing has its place, but it's not, especially on social. I think people want to see a little bit less polished things, especially as part of the mix. You can have your things that look really polished, but I think that if you're trying to communicate directly, I think you like remove some of those barriers of like these high polish, hi-fi things that also take longer to create, right? Like you got to go and set up the lights, you got to set up all these things. There's a time and a place for it, and I think it's for like commentary and some of these other things. You're seeing lo-fi win and have higher performance in terms of engagement. So yeah, I think that's what's calling out here. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to point out or that you feel you agree or disagree with when it comes to this.
Time and place, right? I don't think. I think the title is a little misleading when it says that lo-fi is winning. It's just time and place. Like lo-fi has its place and hi-fi has its place. Like we see it a lot with. I keep on referencing Event Factor, but their stuff is very unique. They have to sell to bigger brands and to wedding planners and whatnot. The production that they can do. For lack of a better term, if they're comiendo mierda on lo-fi, stuff, like they're not gonna be able to showcase that. They're gonna be telling the story of behind the scenes and whatnot, and we could do that in other ways, but it's not necessarily fit for that brand. Nor do they have the time for that, because lo-fi takes a lot of time too. So again, time and place. A lot of these food bloggers have changed the game in the food space by doing a lot of lo-fi. That's a place where it fits. You want to talk about the food, you want to be real about it, you want to showcase you eating in the car like a lot of these food bloggers do. That makes total sense. So I don't necessarily agree with that. It is it's definitely winning, but it's not the end all be all. I agree with you also that it's not many people are doing it. It's not everybody is doing it. Some people are doing lo-fi, some people are doing hi-fi. It's kind of mixed. The episodic stuff specifically, right? Because a lot of people don't have time for that. So, I think you just need to, like everything, you need to assess where your brand is at. You need to assess what your demographic for your brand is. And does it make sense for your demo to have a lot of consistent lo-fi episodic content, or super highly produced content, or a mix of both? Because that's also in the mix as well. Is a good mix of both, where you showcase a little bit of behind the scenes and that lo-fi, and you're bringing personality to your brand, but also showcasing the end result and the really super kind of curated end results and videos and whatnot. So I think it really just depends on the brand and where you're at as a brand. But I do love the lo-fi stuff. I follow a lot of the food bloggers. That's kind of like one of my things is I have a bunch of these food bloggers that I follow that do the blogs in the car and shit like that. And it's engaging, man. It's engaging, and you get like real takes as to what food tastes like. It could be fast food, it could be whatever. You get real takes, and I think that there's definitely a time and place for both.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to consider here that doesn't get spoken of is like we say lo-fi, but all our phones shoot natively at 1080 to 4K. So like it's high resolution. This was a big deal when the news shifted to high definition. That's the worst phones have high definition.
Raw is a really good way of putting it. Raw.
Yeah, exactly.
Not lo-fi.
Yeah, exactly. Like raw, less produced. You don't have all these lights, the makeup. You don't have like a whole team around you doing all this stuff. It's very much run and gun. And this other element I think is something that doesn't get spoken of enough is the characters and the content that is spoken or shown on it ultimately is what wins. Because you'll watch Portnoy on the highly produced stuff and you'll watch him on his lo-fi stuff because he's saying some stuff that's going to be unfiltered, that's going to brush you the wrong way. And like it says here, half the comments argue with him. And that's also what the distribution is. People sharing it with their friends. I've done it. I'm like, this guy's a freaking idiot. What is he saying about this team or this take on whatever? And so that is part of it. I don't tend to be on the side. Sorry. Well, like to me, it's more of like you could be someone that is very outspoken and you could garner plenty of views and get people to talk about you. But you also have to deal with what that that comes with, right? Like you have to be prepared for people bashing you and saying things that are not nice, and living with the fact that you will dissuade some people as part of that, and that's fine. Every brand at some point needs to pick a lane. If not, if you're for everyone, then you're for no one. But I think there are a certain aperture point. Like you could be, if you really want to be like this and be like a Kanye West and be like a Porto and be like certain people that are going to say things that are going to really be acute and brush people the wrong way, cool. You're going to have a really strong fan base and a really strong hater base. I think there's something in between that you could find and say like, hey, I really don't give a crap about this team. I hate the Celtics. Will I watch them and watch basketball? Sure. But like, I'm not going to root for them. I'm not going to appreciate that they have great players. But you could have a nuanced take that takes a side, but doesn't like just have this A and B approach of like, yo, no, screw anyone on that side of the field. It's not. That's my take on it.
I agree 1,000%, but I understand the business that a Portnoy or a Kanye, minus the racist shit, have, which is at the end of the day, we live in a digital age, and you said it best. Like people are going to talk about you poorly or for you. They're gonna be with you or they're gonna be against you, but they're still gonna engage with you. They're still gonna send it to their friends. They're still gonna get on your feed and add comments. And at the end of the day, that's the ROI right there. Is the engagement. So I get the business model for sure.
Yeah. And I think that the point down here, if everyone agrees with everything you say, you're not saying anything interesting enough to share. It's true. If you just say like we've seen it, other marketing agencies will share these like tips or things that, things to do for SEO or things to do and it's like the same regurgitated stuff that any other agency could say. And it's like, great. What do I do with this information? Like, show me an example, like give me some meat. If you don't do that, then yeah, that's exactly it. You're saying fluff. You're saying nothing that people are going to care about or share. But yeah, I think to wrap it up here, it's more about, you don't really need a studio or a crazy production budget to at least get the ball rolling. I think in certain industries, if you're in the luxury industry, if you're working with higher end brands, you're talking about elevated products, high ticket price products. Like, yeah, I think that it's going to be hard for Louis Vuitton to completely switch to only lo-fi. You know what I mean? Like they can do some of it, but it's probably going to be a fraction of what
minimal.
Yeah. So
agreed.
I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah. So that was kind of the end of that. And yeah, the open floor was just this, not related to anything we've talked about. It was just
this guy's from the future, man.
I saw this come up my feed. I thought it was a spoof. I thought it was freaking Ben Stiller being like,
Ben Stiller.
And it's an actual CEO of an AI company. This looks like the villain, like especially the way he's dressed. We could play it.
We want to manage the identities of the humans and the agents. We treat the agents just like the humans. So the rules and rails can complement this great AI revolution. The enterprise is a pretty messy thing. So we clarify it, we clean the mess up, and we make sure that the AI is secure. And I think that.
So yeah, that's pretty much his point. I'm just like, this is such like corporate speak, but the dude's dressed like he's like in a 1970s Bond film as the villain. And
literally,
it's just like hard to take this seriously because, I thought this was Ben Stiller straight up before I clicked play. And I don't know. I just thought on my feet, I'm like, we got to just talk about this because like these are the kind of things that come up. And I'm sure other people, I haven't even read the comments. I'm sure other people have weird sentiments and takes on this guy. And this is more about perception and how you come off, right? Like I think this was okay to do in that era, the 70s, the 80s, even into the 90s. Now in the 2000s, like the rawness, the realness, like the authenticity, like look at the new modern tech founders. They tend to be a little bit, they're dressed down,
edgier.
They're casual, they're edgier. This feels like this guy's stuck in that era. And no matter what format, whether he's on broadcast TV, on social, like this is how people, millennials and younger, are going to perceive this. and we're the ones that are pretty much using AI the most. So I don't know. I just found it really.
No matter what this guy does, he won't be as bad as the GameStop CEO. That's
Oh my
damn
god!
sure. I wish you would have had that video. I completely forgot to tell you to put it in this thing today.
Yeah.
My God, that is such a cringe fucking video. I apologize to everybody that we did not have that. That is a dropped ball on David and mine.
Yeah, man. When I sent it to you, it was like,
I know.
why go on, what was it, CNBC as well, or one of these shows?
Yeah.
And then he gets asked about what he's going to do to make up the money to buy
his own purchase.
Yeah, to buy
the purchase.
The weird thing is, like, you just keep saying it's on the website, half stock, half cash.
Then why are you on the fucking show, my guy?
And they're pointing out, like, hey, there's a shortfall. There's like 16 billion that isn't in the equation. So can you tell us? And he just keeps repeating the same thing and being awkward and silent. And it's like, I think he was on something, because I just don't think that you go on national television to get, as a representative of a publicly traded company, talking about a potential merger and going on there and being like, half stock, half cash, look at the website. Like, what?
Wild.
It's the most bizarre thing. Yeah.
Wild.
You got to go watch that if you haven't.
We'll make a clip on it. We'll make a reel on it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very cringe. I don't understand how he went. This dude, just, I can't, man. This guy's out of the fucking, he's out of a James Bond film for sure.
For sure.
Out of a movie. Absolutely wild. But yeah, man.
That pretty much wraps up.
Incredible show.
That wraps up episode 15. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm sure there's plenty more that we can talk about from here to then, but appreciate you all for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
Thank you, guys.